Hi folks, my name is Peyman and today is Saturday, March 4th, 2023. Welcome to your YouTube channel. I will have a book review about this. Okay. The title is The Problem with Socialism. The author is Thomas J. or DiLorenzo. Okay, DiLorenzo. The spelling of D and O is very difficult to distinguish. So that's the problem. And it is also with this book that I'm going to do it later on. The way they spell D is very similar to letter O. It's very hard to distinguish them. And I will be speaking, in this video clip, I will be speaking the English language, then I will switch to the Persian language. I already posted in my blog the book review. So the link to that blog will be appearing in the description of this video clip. Okay, so it is published by Regenerate Publishing, a division of Estate Media. Copyright is 2016 by Thomas DiLorenzo. It has 226 pages. It is chapter from 1 to 16. Mainframe of the book, the publisher printed the code without a page number. Okay, so I cannot give a page number because it doesn't have it didn't put a page number here, and I just left it as is. So it is here. It says as the Margaret Thatcher famously said, the problem with socialism and socialism is they always run out of other people's money. Okay? And that's the problem with socialism. So the influencer of his thought, the author is using Frederick Hayek, wrote that the definition of socialism evolved in the 20th century to mean income redistribution in pursuit of equality, not through government ownership of the means of production, but through the institution of the welfare state and the progressive income tax. That appears as page 5. As a capstone of his philosophy to justify his views against socialism, like Great Britain adopted its brand of democratic socialism, known as Fabian socialism, after World War II, as it nationalized many key industries, imposed very high rates of taxation, established a massive welfare state, and adopted socialized medicine and government-funded pensions. Page 7. If I missed a page or anything of that nature, you could go to my blog and verify it for yourself if you need it. I'm also, one of my ulterior motives is this. For students who are doing paper, you may be pro-capitalism. That's fine. All power to you. Okay? And you could use my book reviews and say, hey, on page 7 says this. Or if you like my critic, what I wrote it over there, hey, go for it. Use it. Problem with socialism. People have risen to power under socialism. Why? Fascism is just another form of socialism. How the success of Scandinavian socialism is a myth. This is an exact quotation, page 13. So, problem with socialism. The author is persistently trying to say socialism is a myth. But later on, when I'm doing a book review for this one, I will be talking about socialism. What's socialism? What is communism? These are two distinct concepts. They're not same. But the authors are blurring it. They're not being honest. Critical point of capitalism in the U.S. The institution of private property and free market led to a burst of entrepreneurship and wealth creation. By 1776, the young American economy was 100 times larger than it was in the 1630s, and Americans had already become among the most affluent people in the world. Okay, that's very interesting. The author of this book is omitting some historical facts. Yes, the US economic growth. Why? Okay? The History Channel released an article titled Slavery in America that began in August 1619. On September 20th, 2020, the History Channel released an article titled How Slavery Became Economic Engine of South. It illustrated how slavery was so profitable it has brought more millionaires per capita in the Mississippi River Valley than anywhere in the nation. With cash crops of tobacco, cotton, and sugar cane, American southern states became the economic engine of the bourgeois nation. So do you get the idea how the US economy is becoming strong? Not because of the hard labor, because of exploitation of African American. That's one of them. Okay? There are many other ways to go. Okay. Then it says, therefore, it was not the capitalist system which caused economic growth in the US, it was the slavery system which exploited workers to work on the land and not receive any form of wages. Most importantly, the European settlers stole lands. These are my input, okay? I couldn't find anything like to put it over there and say, okay, this is the source, but it's a historical fact, we all agree. It's same as Holocaust. We know what Hitler did to Jewish people, to ethnic minorities, gypsies, member of LGBTQ community. We know what Hitler did. Okay, it is very sad. Someone my sociology book says New Society. The author is Dr. Robert Bream. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name properly. I apologize for that. And in his book, he wrote Holocaust claimed 6,000 Jewish lives, or 6 million. For me, it is irrelevant, the number. Even there was a system to kill one person. That's it, done. There's a system that is designed to commit genocide. What is genocide? It is injustice. End of the story. I'm very, very serious about it. I'm not about one person. Oh, you just took one person. No, that's irrelevant. It's a human rights violation. In conclusion, so the European settlers are coming, and how did they took the land? From First Nations, killing them, they went through genocide too. In Canada, we have residential schools that they shut down in 1996. So therefore, European settlers did not work hard to acquire land. Because if I want to have a land, what do I have to do? I have to work really hard to buy that land, to lease it, do something, and do farming on it. And farming is very hard, but what happens? They came and they killed them and took their lands. And First Nations, just accurate to me, First Nations were living in community. It was not like, this is my land or something like that. In conclusion, the author is 100% wrong in his assertion that the capitalist system in the US caused economic growth. The method of slavery and stealing lands from the First Nation caused the US economy to grow. Pioneer of capitalist philosophy. As Adam Smith, it's a quotation, page 25, author is saying, as Adam Smith explained in his famous 176 treatise, an inquiry in the nature and cause of wealth of nation, what motivates people to put forth all of this effort and cooperation with each other to give us our meat and our bread is not their selfishness or their love of their fellow man, but their concern for their well-being. By pursuing their own self-interest in the free market, they coincidentally, as though led by an invisible hand, benefit the rest of the society as well. On page 26, the author says, when a product or service becomes more scarce, consumers look for alternatives, which is one engine of innovation. When price rises, investors are alert to consumer demand and look to provide consumers with what they want at the lower price to improve on the existing product or services. Okay, let's look at this. These are the mainframe idea that the author of this book is striving for it. Mr. Adam Smith says people are self-interested and are not having love for others to provide need. They do it for their well-being and self-interest. The author contradicts his comment on the following page by saying when the price of goods and services rises, investors are developing new goods or service at lower price to improve the existing product or service. When people have no love for each other, that's what he says. Why should they do anything for each other? It is time to exploit one another. Thus, to exploit one another is happening right now in North America. The landlords are increasing the price of rent. Apartments. It's in a quotation. Where there was a change in tenants saw that rent go up by 18.9%. Those where there was no change in tenancy saw rents go up by only 2.9% on average. This reflects the fact that once a tenant vacates a unit, landlords are generally free to increase asking rents to current market levels. The CMHC said the trend of rent increase has been going on for the past 2 decades. Okay? This is very important. If you're living in North America, Canada, US, you already know you're at the mercy of landlords. They could do anything. They could take your whole paycheck. You're making $5,000 a month, they will take it from you. Because that is their God-given right to take your precious money away from you. So that's what they do. One of the books that I really like it, I read it and I enjoyed The Power Elite. It is written by C. Wright Mills. He's an American sociologist. He published his work with the title The Power Elite. In his book, he proves how the power elite, or 1%, monopolizes the U.S. economy by electing and re-electing politicians to the U.S. legislative bodies. It is the same in Canada. Thomas J. DiLorenzo, I apologize for mispronouncing his last name. In his book asserts that an obvious consequences of this is that capitalist economy creates an interconnected community that constantly strives to supply all of us with best goods and services at the lowest price. It provides employment for people of all imaginable talents and abilities. It blows past subsistence economics. It creates wealth. That's page 33. The whole essence of the author is that the capital system provides low prices and creates wealth. Like is examine his claim about society's low prices and wealth creation. The economic pie is scarce. There is an English expression, money does not grow on a tree. Dr. DiLorenzo used Adam Smith's psychology of a human being as a self-interest entity. Therefore, humans compete against each other to acquire more of limited economic pie. In this competition to acquire wealth, it needs to create barriers to prevent others from gaining wealth, and others can grab more wealth from the economic pie. One barrier is the race issue. In 1991, I immigrated to Canada. I graduated from University of Toronto in 2020 with a degree in sociology. In 2017, I gained employment because Canada has a huge labor shortage. This is a fact. Like Canada is having a labor shortage. I refer to Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, Statistics Canada. Recently, there was a report that immigrants do not stay in Canada. They are moving out right away. The U.S. also has a severe issue of race. During the COVID-19 crisis, African Americans face a high unemployment rate compared to other races. Again, this is quoted. Documentary 13th is a movie. Illustrates how African Americans are demonized on the biggest screen as a rapist and evildoers. Later in the 90s, politicians passed laws that put African Americans behind bars. Yep, these are facts. The author begins to assert that the excellent definition of capitalism is give me that which I want and I will give you that which you want. Page 34. The author defines the capitalist system in light of fair trade. The nature of the capitalist system is to compete with others and exploit others. If a country does not want to trade with the US, it deploys someone like, I apologize, I'm not pronouncing this person's properly, Smedley, middle name D, last name Butler, a US Marine to extract resources. Another example is NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which was enacted in 1994 and created a free trade zone for Mexico, Canada, and the US. It's the most important feature in the US-Mexico bilateral commercial relationship. Canada is the biggest loser of NAFTA and the US has the upper hand. So we are talking about the universal healthcare. On chapter 9, of the author begins to bash Canada's universal healthcare. That was for me very hilarious. He was saying people are dying in Canadian healthcare, the hospitals are dirty. If that is the case, Canada will face some kind of a crisis and will lose population. Like depopulation, I would say, would happen, and it's not happening. However, I took it again from the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Americans are coming to Canada and they're doing, what are they doing? They're doing their surgeries. They're receiving medical treatment. Why? If you watch Michael Moore's documentary, Sicko, private insurance companies that are providing healthcare for Americans, they have doctors sitting behind the desk and they are declining those clients who need surgery for cancer. And it's like over there. And it is really big if you want to go, how many Americans don't have a health care, all that kind of thing. There was, this guy is a really big mess. And what happens on page, like I'm reading this, and I don't know, this person has my skin color, maybe is Oriental, maybe is Middle Eastern, I don't want to judge, but I googled it and I noticed this is a typical white male book. It's not written by someone who's savvy, who has some kind of a life experience, and he's talking. That's why I put my life experience. I'm like, you're talking gibberish. And he is sexist. Page 171, he says, author says, anyone can then walk into her assigned grocery. And I'm like, okay, so like I could sense racism, sexism is coming out of this guy. He's nudging it over there. And the moment he's talking about grocery, he thinks it's a woman's responsibility to do grocery. And the book was published, copyright, in 2016. So, and he's a university professor. He should know that man and woman are equal. I go to the grocery store. So he doesn't go to grocery store. He tells his wife or someone, you go and do my grocery. You cook for me. So that's how so it's like a very panicking book. For the author, it's really terrible. Okay, I really enjoyed it. I will be speaking the Persian language. با سپاس فراوان به شما عزیزان، اگه دوست دارید این کتاب رو بخونید، این کتاب با آقای تامس دای لورنزو، به تلفظ انگلیسی من برای دای لورنزو زیاد توجه نکنید، ایشون معذرت میخوام، شاید اشتباه دارم تلفظ میکنم. این کتاب 226 تا برگ داره، گفتارش 16 تاست، بیشتر مواردی رو که استفاده کرده از دیدگاه راست هستش. در رابطه با خانم مارگارت تاچر صحبت میکنم، میگه که سوشیالیسم روی حساب بانکی دیگران حساب میکنه و همیشه سوشیالیسم ورشکسته هستش. تو این کتاب که بوک ریویو بعدی من خواهد بود، میخوام به توجه شما برسونم که ما بین سوشالیسم و کمونیست فرق داره، یکی نیستن. اینا دو تا کانسپت ها، عقیده های مختلف، فلسفه های مختلفی هستن. فردریک هیکو من کتابش رو خوندم در رابطه با سوشالیسم نوشته. این نوشته که بعد از جنگ جهانی دوم اومدن به طرف اینکه ولفر داشته باشیم، رفاه داشته باشیم در جامعه و اینا مخالف هستن، میگن دولت هیچ گونه برنامه رفاهی نباید داشته باشه و ایشون میگه که سوشالیسم یک نوع فاشیسمه. البته اگه به کمونیستی نگاه کنی یک نوع فاشیستیه، کمونیستی بخوای نگاه کنی یک نوع فاشیستیه، چون فاشیست و کمونیست بودن هر دو تاشون سعی میکنن اقتصاد رو کنترل کنن. ایشون حمله میکنن به کشورهای اسکاندیناویان کانتریز برای اینکه اینا سوشالیست هستن، پولی که میاد معاون جمع میکنه، دولت جمع میکنه برمیگردونه به مردم و این میگه اینا دروغ و اینا واقعیت نداره. ایشون ادعا میکنه در سال میلادی دارم میگم 1776 اقتصاد آمریکا خیلی قوی بوده. واو، نگاه کنید، وقتی من یه چیزی رو میخوام باید بگم خیلی سنجیده باید باشه، از همه نظر درست باشه و این خیلی چیز بدیه. من البته اینو میدونستم، تو دانشگاه تورنتو یاد گرفته بودم چرا اقتصاد آمریکا خیلی قویه. این به خاطر اسلیوری. من از هیستوری چنل استفاده کردم، اونجا قشنگ نشون میده که چجوری این اروپایی ها میان تو آمریکای شمالی، تو همین کانادا، تو آمریکا و شروع میکنن مردم فرست نیشن، تو فارسی میگیم سرخپوست ولی نمیخوام به کسی اون اهانته، از دیدگاه من اهانته، ولی منظورم اینه که فرست نیشن، اون ملیت های اولیه که اینجا بودن، اروپایی ها میکشن، زمیناشون میدوزن، بعد میان بردهداری میکنن، همه چیز مفت اومده دست اینا. بعد در این دوران که اینا در ارتش آمریکا ارتش خودش رو درست میکنه، باتلر، یو اس مرین باتلر، یه افسر لوتننت جنرال بوده، سرلشکر بوده، این میرفته کشورهایی مثل فیلیپین که ارتش ضعیفی دارن ریزورساشونو خیلی راحت برده. یه ویدیو کلیپ هم بود سیاه و سفید من دیده بودم 90 میلادی که میگفتن این سیاستمداران آمریکایی میگفتن اگه ریزورساتونو، اون ذخایر معدنیتون رو به ما ندید، ما با ارتش میم ازتون میگیریم. خیلی راحت این حرفا رو میزنن. بعد در رابطه با کانتردیکشن یه جایش بود، این بود که در رابطه با آقای ادم اسمیت، پایه‌گذار لیبرالیسم یا کپیتالیسم، خب صحبت میکنه، میگه که وقتی که یک نفر میاد مثلا یه چیز رو به ماست میده، بهت گوشت میده، موم من از کوتاه میکنه، به خاطر این نیستش که عاشق چشمای منه، چشمای آبی منه، به خاطر اینه که اون به خاطر خودش، به خاطر اون پول داره کار انجام میده، به خاطر خودش. بعد میاد میگه که خیلی رو این داستان ها میچرخه، میگه که نگاه کنید وقتی که یک سرمایه دار میبینه که قیمت ها رفته بالا، سریع میاد یه راهی رو پیدا میکنه که قیمت ها رو بیاره پایین. خب تو میگی به خاطر خودش داره اینا کارا رو انجام میده، به خاطر من انجام نمیده. این یه حرف ضد نقیضه که انجام داده، کانتردیکشن انجام داده. بعد بیایم واقعیت رو نگاه کنیم. ما خودمون داریم الان تجربه میکنیم تو آمریکای شمالی، تو کانادا، آمریکا. این کسانی که صاحب این همه خونه و اینا هستن، کل درآمدگی شخص رو میذاره تو جیبش، اصلا رحم نداره. یه جوکه، کاملا جوکه. بهترین کتابی رو که من خوندم و پیشنهاد میکنم یه نفر بخونه، سی رایت میلر، The Power of It. تو آمریکا با کانادا میان چیکار میکنن؟ این آدمای پولدار یه سری رو تو انتخابات کمک میکنن که برنده بشن، برن تو مجلس و برای اینا قانونگذاری کنن که چه چیزی هستش. همون تو قسمت انگلیسیش نگفتم، مایک هریس استاندار گذشته آنتریو سال 95 پولدارا کمکش کردن، انتخاب شد تو مجلس، پدر همه رو در آورد، پدر همه رو که اوکپ کرییت شد، Ontario Coalition Against Poverty. اوکی، اینا رو داریم از آن. بعد دیگه چیا هستش؟ فیلم نفتا رو که همه میدونیم، آمریکا دست برنده رو داره، هیچ اجازه نمیده. اصلا بخوایم در رابطه با نفتا صحبت کنیم، کانادا بازنده است. یه داکومنتری هستش 13، شما اینو نگاه کنید میبینید تو این داکومنتری مردمانی که پدر مادرشون رو به زور از قاره آفریقا اومدن آوردنشون تو آمریکا، به اینا شغل نمیدن، اینا رو اذیت میکنن، پلیس اذیتش میکنه، همه کار میکنن. همین قانونگذار، همین جو بایدن جزء همون کساییه که میخواد این امریکن ها رو بکنن تو زندان. هالیوود چجوری اینا رو نشون میده؟ بدن، تنبلن، نمیدونم، خوششون نمیاد کار کنن، دوست دارن کارهای بد کنن. من نمیگم این داکومنتری داره نشون میده، این فیلم مستند داره نشون میده که چجوری هالیوود اینا رو نشون میده. مثل خود من، همه به من میگفتن، من فیلم نات ویتات مایداتا رو دیدم، تو آدم بدی هستی. بله، اینو صدها هزار بار گفتم. تو گفتار نهم ایشون میاد یک چرند و پرندایی صحبت میکنه، تو زبان آذری میگن صف سارساخ دانشما. باور کن صف سارساخ، این آدم صف سارساخ دانشما. این آدم شروع میکنه میگه کانادا هلث کرش بعد و فلانه. آره کانادا هلث کرش یک سری ایرادهایی داره ولی کثیف نیست، آدما نمیمیرن. اینطوری که نوشته هر لحظه دارن آدما اینجا میمیرن، بعد جمعیت اینجا داره همینجوری میاد پایین. اصلا دروغ. آره یه اتفاقاتی میفته، 100% میفته، همه جای دنیا میفته، پزشکا اشتباه میکنن، پرستارا اشتباه میکنن، ولی اینجوری نیستش که این میگه. من خودم این داکومنتری و این فیلم مستند دیدم، صدا و سیمای کانادا، Canadian Broadcasting Corporation CBC، میگه که نشون میده آمریکایی‌ها نمیتونن تو آمریکا هلث کیر داشته باشن، میان کانادا جراحی و همه کارشون رو انجام میدن و میرن، هیچ پولی هم نمیدن. خب اینا یک واقعیته. اوکی صدای سیما کانادا اشتباه میکنه، باشه. مایکل مور فیلم داکومنتری، فیلم مستند به نام سیکو درست میکنه، نشون میده یک سری پزشکا هستن که واسه این اداره‌های بیمه کار میکنن و وقتی که مردم که سرطان داره، نشون میده سرطان داره میمیره، پروندهش رو رد میکنه، میگه ایشون حق جراحی نداره. تعداد بیشماری هستن تو مایکل مور، البته معنی یهو یادم اومد تو فیلم مستند دیده، که اینا رد میکنن، بیمه ندارن مردم، برای اینکه اونقدر گرونه داشتن بیمه. من خیلی شک شدم به این آدم. من فکر کنم این آدم سفیده، مردم باید باشه. دوست حال و حوصله گوگل کسی رو ندم بخوام گوگل کنم ببینم چیه. شغل زیاد دارم. من اینو خیلی وقت پیش نوشتم، امروز تونستم ویدیو کلیپ درست کنم، بعد این یکی بوک ریویو رو تونستم انجام بدم، دیشب انجام دادم. من گوگل کردم دیدم یه مرد سفیده. بعد تو برگ 171 میگه که anyone can then walk into her assigned grocery. سکسیسته، این سکسیست به تمام معناست. این پله اول اینه که بیگوتری داره، یعنی تعصب داره. اصلا نمیدونم، مثلا من این شخص رو جدی نمیگیرم، با اینکه استاد دانشگاه داره درس میده اینا، چیزایی که داره میگه خیلی مزه میکنم، چرت و پرت و چرند و پرنده، یعنی مفهوم نداره. بسیار سپاسگزارم. دارم هم میگم یه سری بوک ریویو انجام میدم، امیدوارم که اونایی که دانشجو هستن یا دانش آموز هستن بتونن بهره برداری کنن. مثلا تو دانشگاه هستن، چون وقتی تو دانشگاه هستی کتاب زیاد نمیتونی بخونی، باید واسه یه هر درس، واسه هر یه کورس 3 کتاب باید بخونی. اگه مثلا کتابم بتونی از این بغل بخونی نمرت میره بالا. شاید یکی بتونه از این بوک ریویو استفاده کنه. سپاسگزارم. نقد کتاب